three women from the UAE decided to scale the highest peak in the world, which is Mount Everest. Two of them successfully climbed the peak, and one came close to Camp 4, which is the last stop before reaching the summit. They have all three of them have done us proud, and they have achieved a mammoth feat. So congratulations. And today at Gulf News, we have two of the adventurers from the UAE, Fatima Darion and Khadijah Turkey, to talk about their challenges, to talk about their journey, their experience, and how they achieved it all. So firstly, let me congratulate both of you. You've done immensely great, and you've actually been able to achieve your passion. And came out glorious in all of this. So let's start. And we have been tracking your journey, Khadijah, the last 2 months. You started off on
8th of April.
8th of April. And
here,
so we'll start with you and how it was, and then we'll come to Fatima.
It was one of the toughest things that I've ever done in my whole life, to be quite honest. Preparation for it started a year back when I decided that I'm going to try to summit Everest. And I came to know Mustafa a year ago as well. I've met him in Kathmandu. And to me, now that it's over and it's done, everything happened for a reason. Last year, in April, I was with a group of friends climbing base camp. We decided that we did Kilimanjaro in January, and then we decided that we're doing base camp in April. And that was the only time available because it's seasonal. Mountaineering is seasonal, and we couldn't wait for another year. So, and then when we finished, I came across Mustafa. And that was the first time that I was introduced to him. He was trying to put a group of Middle Eastern female ladies to be the first group to climb Everest. And I decided that year that I'm going to try to attempt to scale Everest. And that's how we've met. And since then, we've been working on getting the sponsorship because it's not an easy task to do. And you would require a lot of funding to get to spend 2 months in Everest just trying to summit that mountain. So the training started, the diet started, the hunting for sponsors started, and then we tried to scale it, but I came back, as you mentioned, from Camp 4 due to weather conditions and to my health as well.
Which was really close. I mean, you were just one stop away.
I know.
And so that's still, great
that
achievement. It does hurt as well.
It did hurt at the beginning, but then when I started coming down from Camp 4 all the way to Camp 3, and I remembered the steps that I took to go up, and then it's harder to get down. It's much, much harder. So I made peace with it then, because I discovered that my health is more important. Have I wasted that energy going up to the summit, I would have died in my way back coming down. It was that severe for me. And I just want to say something no one knows, perhaps a lot of people do not know. I'm a thalassemia carrier. And for a thalassemia carrier to get to 8,000 plus, that's a personal achievement before anything else. Because thalassemia carriers are a bit more fatigued than the normal people. And we get tired easier than the normal people because of the blood conditions that we carry. And for me to be able to, and I've totally ignored that fact when I decided to attempt to do this challenge. And I never thought that it would hit me hard. But it did at 8,000 meters. And I'm very grateful that it didn't come earlier. But I needed more time for my body to recover. And it wouldn't have happened if I went to the summit and I came back. So this prepares me to be aware of my condition, my blood condition, and it never stopped me before from scaling other mountains when I wanted to. But this is the highest that I have done, and I'm grateful that I was able to get to that level. However, this is a lesson that I've learned that for next year when I try Everest again, I'll have to be more prepared and perhaps take my training a bit more serious. Though my training was serious, but then with the blood condition, we'll have to try something else next time.
And I'm sure you'll come out a winner next time, and I wish you all the best from now itself.
Thank you.
It's amazing. I just heard about the fact that you are a thalassemia carrier. So for me, it just means that you've achieved it a lot more and a lot better. So coming to you, Fatima, you're just 26.
Yeah.
And you've achieved the mammoth task. So tell us about it. How does it feel?
So it definitely feels amazing.
Yeah.
I went with the mindset of I want to see the world from the top. It's been a dream since I was 14, ever since I flew over Everest with my family. And it was a dormant dream until once I saw a motivational speech by Omar Samra, and he woke it up all again. And this is when I started climbing again. I went to Everest as the first mountain. It was the highest mountain I would ever climb. And then I got to understand about the seven summits, the South Pole, North Pole, all these stuff. And then I got really into it because I felt my body was actually made for the mountains. I felt like my legs are meant to be there. So I decided to go to Everest by the end of December. Everything fell into place. My plan wasn't to go this year. My plan was to go in another 3 to 4 years. But on my birthday, my family announced like they're willing to support me towards my dream to make it sooner.
That is so nice.
Yeah.
That is an awesome gift, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And my dad is a very smart man. We're in the cleaning industry, so we decided to do like a study on how to get the trash off Everest because he had seen some pictures. And I'm running my own online cleaning company now as well. So everything fell into place as if it was meant to happen. And we funded it, and I found myself on Everest by March.
Wow, amazing. So talking about funding, so you were totally on your own. You didn't have a sponsor. You were it was your family which helped you.
Okay, so I have enough savings. So I used to have a proper career before I started mountaineering, but I quit for mountains, and then I joined the family business for time and flexibility, and continued saving for that dream. But then I was short on my down payment and all that, so I got this major support from the family, and I continued making money through my work, and I didn't go with a super expensive expedition, but it's still really expensive.
So
it was like
how
50,000.
expensive was it?
So it was $50,000 for my expedition.
And this includes your hotel stay, your journey?
No, it's just the expedition.
As in like getting the permits?
So the permit is part of it, which is $11,000.
Okay.
Otherwise, everything goes into the expedition logistic operator, who puts together the food, who makes the decision about the weather, your tents, your life basically for 2 months.
The Sherpas.
The Sherpas.
The Sherpas,
Yeah,
exactly.
majorly the Sherpas, of course.
Okay.
It's like Everest was calling me, in my opinion. It wasn't planned, and it was last minute in December.
Yeah. And what's the most expensive as part of the expedition? Is it the permit?
Yeah,
The permit.
the permit.
Mm-hmm. So do you have like a breakdown of what the cost is?
I wouldn't give you the exact breakdown, but as I said, you have 11,000 for the permit, and then you're paying for your home basically. You're renting a house, which is your tent. They're cooking for you 3 meals a day at least. They're giving you your snacks. They're giving you guidance. Their vast experience. They're giving you the Sherpa. Your oxygen bottle costs a lot.
Yeah.
How much does the oxygen bottle cost?
My oxygen bottle costed $6,000.
Okay. And so it's one bottle that you carry?
No.
No, so I had
How?
5 bottles. I had 5 bottles.
Okay.
And every time a bottle is almost at its end, we switch it. But I used bottles personally from Camp 3 to the summit and back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was coming to that. Like, when do you use it? So
Yeah.
it's typically in Camp 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of the preparations before, in terms of getting yourself fit, your health, what were those, some of the things that you did?
Yeah. So to prepare for Everest, I think I've been climbing for 4 years. Preparing for Everest is more mental. Physical, you need to have a minimum level of fitness to start with. So I would train like anyone would train for anything, right?
Okay.
But I would work harder on my endurance. Otherwise, I was running 3 times a week, 10K. I was doing strength training in the morning and some cardio in the afternoon. So a mix of strength and cardio and endurance. But I believe, in my opinion, to train for any mountain, you have to be on another mountain, because you need to experience what does it feel like to sleep on the floor in a tent. What does it feel like to sleep in a sub-zero environment? Eating basic food, not having like the fancy food you usually have on. Being out of your comfort zone itself is the right way to prepare you for stuff like this. And through my 4 years experience on different mountains, I've done around like 17 mountains before Everest. I think this is what really prepared me for the big one.
Yeah, but exactly, because Everest is pretty much, I think it's pretty much like the Oscars. So it's the ultimate win, it's the ultimate glory. And you have to really tackle other mountains and other peaks to be able to do that. And both of you have quite a bit of experience doing that. But was Everest like a whole different challenge? Is simply because of its height?
To me, Everest was a totally different challenge, because it's the altitude. I've never been to that altitude before, and the duration as well.
Yeah.
You're away from home for almost 2 months.
Yes.
So it was just getting myself prepared for the fact that I'm going to be away
for
that whole duration.
Yeah.
And I had to quit my job, to be quite honest.
Wow.
I quit my job for this.
And you did too? You quit your job like this? Wow.
Yeah.
Did you get back though?
Well, they called me back. They called me back to be a part-time teacher in the college, which I'm loving.
Okay.
So, and I don't regret the decision of leaving my job, though I loved my job.
Yeah.
I loved working in the tourism industry. But then I decided that Everest has the priority, and I'll have to put all of my efforts into that expedition, and to get my mindset away from my daily routine and the aspects of work and these sort of things.
Exactly.
And then they called me, and they've suggested that I join the college, because we've started a tourism college at Dubai Tourism. And
so for the uninitiated, you are a teacher in tourism.
Yes,
okay.
Part-time teacher.
Okay.
So I gave it a shot. I said, why not? And, I was at a point that I'm willing to try something new, and I've always been wanting to try something new. You wouldn't know unless you try it.
Yes.
And I fall in love with it.
Yeah.
And it's really something that it's nice for you to give back to the industry and to train, because we lack in the hospitality section, we lack those kids who have been here in Dubai and who have their hidden gems.
Yes.
And they can sell Dubai and be the ambassadors of Dubai better, because they're the frontliners.
Yes.
All what they lack is the skills and the knowledge of how to deal with people.
Correct. Yes.
And being I would call myself an expert in the tourism industry. I wanted to give that back.
Yes.
And to Dubai, specifically, and UAE. And we're going to train the residents of Dubai. We're going to train those kids who their family wants them to stay over here instead of going and studying abroad, and give back to the community. take a year or two,
Yes.
invest in yourself as an individual, gain that experience
true.
in the industry section,
Yes.
and it shapes you up because
Yes.
you're always in the front line and you're dealing with people.
Yes. Yes.
But to tell the story of Dubai and to tell that the narrative
Yes.
in your own story
Yeah.
from your background, from your
Mhm.
different background, as someone who was born and got raised over here,
Mm.
is something that I
Yes.
was really passionate about. And to
Yes.
give them the skills
Mhm.
and what requires them
Yeah.
to do that
Mhm.
in the right manner and as professional as
Mhm.
possible
Mhm.
is something that I've really enjoyed
Mm.
doing.
Mhm.
So I taught, the first course I taught was the impact of tourism. And it
Right.
touches a lot on environment
Right.
and our impact on the environment
Oh,
as
absolutely.
individuals in the
Yeah.
industry.
Mhm.
And the second term I was teaching them
Mhm.
tour guiding. So it does refresh my memory
Yeah.
for things that I know in the industry.
Yeah.
And it kept me on edge, to
Yeah.
be quite honest. It's not an easy job to
It
teach.
isn't.
It's
Yes.
a great responsibility.
Yeah.
And I had to watch my manners. Or
Yes.
I have good manners to start with.
You do.
But,
You do.
But still, you're in front of kids. In front of these kids, you know.
You're a bit more sensitive about.
You have to be careful of the words that you choose
Mhm.
and the vocabs that you try to get them to adapt as well.
Yeah.
So I loved it. And then September comes and I don't know what I'm teaching, if they want me back or not. But going back to the question, sorry, I diverted.
No, that's fine.
Everest was a different challenge for me.
Yes.
And I haven't done that the altitude itself, but as Tima has mentioned, one of the best things that you do to prepare yourself
Yeah.
for a mountain is to climb other mountains.
Yes.
Because you get to understand that unless you eat
Mm.
and you give your body the fuel it needs,
Yeah.
you won't be able to have the strength
Yes.
to go on.
Absolutely.
Regardless of your mental state and
Yes.
regardless of your physical state,
Absolutely.
you need to fuel this body.
Absolutely.
And if you,
It's
with the
impossible.
altitude, exactly, with the
Yeah.
altitude change, you
Mhm.
get to a point where
Yeah.
you can't even eat.
Yeah.
And you end up forcing yourself to
Yeah.
eat a
Oh,
food
really?
that you're not
Challenge.
familiar with,
Mm.
and you're bored of as well. But you have to
Yeah.
take it, because otherwise, you wouldn't give
You need
your
that
engine
energy.
enough fueling for you
Absolutely.
to go.
Is there a special diet that you need to follow when you're climbing? Such a high peak. Is there a special? Do you need to take care
No,
of?
you just need to eat a lot of
A lot of
carbs.
carbs.
A lot of protein is really hard to digest on altitude.
Okay.
So we focus a lot of pasta. So we would have,
Mm.
I'd have at least pasta, rice, potato in one plate, and then a little bit
Noodles.
of noodles. Exactly.
Really?
So all sorts of carbs, because that's the most that can
Yeah.
store your energy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's nothing really specific. On high
Okay.
camps, it's different because
Yeah.
nobody's cooking.
Mm.
So we would have snacks most of the time.
Yeah.
And Camp 2, we had a cook. You
Yeah.
guys have a cook
Yeah,
on
okay.
Camp 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we eat proper food,
Mhm.
proper as in like noodles.
So it's all right. So it's all right to indulge in your cookies and your.
Yes, a lot.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
if you can eat all the time,
Yeah.
this is like you're doing yourself a favor. It's really hard to eat.
Yeah.
Everything that looks really appealing and unhealthy here is really healthy for you. It's like the complete opposite, and you need to force it. You need to keep on eating as much as you
Yeah.
can.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because at one point you just want to be able to breathe normally, right?
Right.
I mean, forget food. Like you just
Energy. Imagine you're
Energy.
walking in an environment that has around 60% oxygen. Let's say we're going from camp 1 to camp 2.
Mm.
60% oxygen, a little bit more or less.
Yeah.
I'm not precise in the
Mhm.
numbers. Compared to the sea level, right?
Mm.
So your body is burning double what you burn every
Yeah.
step. If you
Yes.
burn one here, you burn probably 2 or 3 or even
Yes.
up there.
Yes.
You need to refuel that, and
Mm.
it's not easy to eat because on altitude your appetite shuts down,
Mm.
and you need to have at least 4 liters of water.
Mm.
So your body becomes like a machine that you really need to maintain. That's burning so much.
Mhm.
You're also burning while sleeping.
Yeah.
Mm.
So your lungs is working double.
It's
Your
double.
heart is working
True.
triple, maybe. Your everything in your like all your organs are overworking itself.
Right.
So like you're burning all the time.
Mhm.
So imagine how much food you need to have.
From what I'm hearing, I really think that yes, one has to be super fit to be able to tackle a peak like this. So are there tests? Are there screening done by the Mount Everest organizers to ensure that people going there are fit enough for it? Because I believe that only a super fit person
It
can
didn't happen
really be
with
there.
me. They've asked us to send them a certificate stating that we
Okay.
are physically fit.
Okay.
So I did a medical check over here in Dubai,
Okay.
and
Alright.
I've sent a letter,
Okay.
the certificate over across to the
Okay.
ministry to certify the permits. I don't know what happened
Really?
with you.
Same thing with us. We have this medical paper that we need to fill and stamp by a doctor.
Right.
But otherwise, I don't think,
Okay.
in my opinion, that's enough.
And
That's all they ask for. And so
Yeah.
that certificate, anybody can play around with it if they really want to do Everest.
right.
On Everest itself,
Mhm.
only if you get sick, there's something called the Everest ER where they can give you basic medications and treatment.
Okay.
Otherwise, there's nothing that proves like 100% you're ready for Everest.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of your own kit, like your own medical kit, you carry some basic essentials. I'm presuming. And what is that like? What did you ladies carry with you, like
As in,
just
like,
to be
medication?
prepared for? Yeah.
Painkillers.
Painkillers mostly.
I had
Ibuprofen.
painkillers. Ibuprofen.
Okay.
And
All right.
I took Diamox with me, but I didn't take
You
it. I
didn't?
didn't
Okay.
use it.
Mm.
I had it with me just in case.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the most beautiful thing? Because I saw your pictures and videos. I mean, the scenery is awesome. So what did you ladies really like on your
Oh my God.
in the journey? Was it the scenery?
Oh
I mean,
my
of course,
God.
besides the adventure.
I've fallen in love with Allah all over again
That's
at
nice.
this mountain,
Wow.
because the beauty of your surroundings is amazing.
Yes.
And I got to a point where I was just talking to the mountain, and I was like,
Yeah.
the same creator have created both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We must
It's
be
beautiful.
beautiful, all of us.
Yeah.
But and it's
true.
a good point for you to meditate, because
Oh,
you can
Yeah.
meditate while you're with yourself
Yes.
throughout the journey. You know?
yes.
Some people play their music
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
they
Zone out, because that's what I do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
and then even when you're zoning out,
Yeah, it's
you're with
beautiful,
your
eh?
thoughts.
Especially
listen-
walking from Camp 1 to Camp 2.
Oh my
When
God.
you're in between all those mountains on that trail,
Oh my God.
it's beautiful.
And it's white all around you, all over. It's
Absolutely.
like it was like those cookies. What they call them?
Oreos?
Oreos. It was a mix of Oreos, and you can tell that I'm hungry.
and I saw some beautiful people you met, like really sweet natives. I mean, perched up there and 4,000 meters. I mean, like, imagine people living there. They have a life, they have an existence.
Yeah.
That must have really taken you, pleasantly surprised
I
you.
mean, people were nice. I mean, every camp that we went to,
Yeah.
every village we went to
Yeah.
before we get to the base
Yeah.
camp, people were nice. And
Nepalese
this is
are
the-
genuinely like they're just
Yes.
humble people. I think
Yes.
this is what mountains
and
does
and
to
the
human
kids
beings.
are
Yeah.
so,
So cute. Yeah.
Yeah, they look adorable.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the Sherpas, I mean, they're amazing, right? I mean, you guys had a Sherpa each,
Yes.
like one.
Yeah.
So how are they? I mean, tell us about their role in all of this.
I mean, the strength, their endurance, their level of adaptation
yeah,
to the different climbers that they take
yeah.
is amazing.
The master
And then they
climbers,
help
yeah.
you, even if they're not your
Yeah.
Sherpas.
Yeah.
Because it comes at one point where you're tired, you're not even able to clip out and clip into the rope, but they will still help
Yeah.
you, even if they're not your Sherpas.
Yeah.
And then the level of their endurance,
Mm.
the food they eat, oh my
Man,
God, do
I
they
think there's something about Sherpas. Nobody
Yeah.
would climb Everest
Yeah.
if it wasn't for the Sherpas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everest would not like be So like there are maybe 1% who can do it, obviously, without their Sherpas. But otherwise, nobody is without a Sherpa. You don't see anyone on the mountain without a Sherpa. The Sherpa would put your life before his
Before
life.
their life,
Yeah.
At one point, he would unclip, but I was clipped
Yeah.
just to cross the crowd or something. So like those people, and he doesn't know me at the beginning. We got to know each other at the beginning of the trip, but by the end of the trip, you feel like you're family. Now,
Exactly.
you know, you climb together. He sometimes wakes you up. He sometimes gives you the right medications.
Absolutely.
When they see me coughing, they would like sit and tell me I need to take ginger. What do I need to do? They would act as if they are your mentor. They're there for you, and they would do whatever you want. They would carry your backpack at one point if you can't carry it. They would take the stuff from you.
Absolutely.
I was coming to that. So, do they carry the backpacks?
No.
Or?
No.
No, it's you.
But like they would
like
take
the
some stuff from
climbers.
you if you can't go on.
Okay.
And bear in mind, those Sherpas, as she said, their endurance level is insane. Like, we went from Camp 3 to Camp 4 on oxygen, and my Sherpa was without oxygen.
Yeah.
And he's going as my same pace. Going up to the summit, I was on 4 liters per hour running the oxygen. He was on 1.5. I sleep on 1.5.
Wow.
It's insane. Like,
It's
I think
insane.
their genes, and like they were
Yeah.
born there in the mountains, and they were born on altitude, big boche or something. So it makes them really strong. So
Right.
without them, I don't think Everest would be easy
And they
to
get
climb.
to a point where they look at your face or at your fingers, and they will know
Yeah.
what needs to what to be done, what sort of
Amazing.
medication you need to
Amazing.
take,
Yeah.
or if they need to step out or they give you
Okay.
something. And
Okay.
they're beautiful people,
Oh.
inside out, to be quite
Wow.
honest.
It's amazing.
Majority of them.
Mhm.
Though there were few Sherpas that they've just started and
Okay.
they're learning.
Yeah.
But then those ones who are experienced, at
Yeah.
least in my condition,
Yeah.
the one that that was with me,
Mm.
he paraglided from Everest all the way down.
She had a really cool
What?
guy.
Oh my gosh.
A really cool
Paraglided from
Yes.
Everest. Tell us about
All
that.
the way down.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Amazing.
So he's well experienced, and on top of that,
Mm.
they know what type of medication that
Yeah.
requires to be
Yes.
given to any climber at any given time.
Absolutely.
As Tima said, no climbers would have done a successful climb
Absolutely.
without Sherpas.
Without
Yeah.
Sherpas.
And
Exactly.
my Sherpa decided that it's
Yeah.
time for me to come down. When I was
Mm.
saying, no, I have the strength, and I was
Okay.
fighting myself not to quit.
Okay.
Because I
Yeah.
think I'm not a quitter, but then
I'm sure
your
no,
health,
not at all. You're not a quitter,
Your
and
health-
I'm sure you're going to go back there.
your health becomes a factor that you need to
Yeah.
consider before anything else.
Mhm.
So I've put my ego aside,
yes,
and I think that's the best thing any climber can do on
Yes.
the mountain.
absolutely
Keep your ego on the sea level,
Mm.
because you cannot conquer a mountain. You conquer
True.
yourself, and you
Yes.
conquer your challenges,
absolutely.
but never a mountain. Don't put yourself in that comparison.
That's true.
You'll never be able to conquer a mountain.
No,
It's
because
bigger
then,
than you.
and if you bring, I think, ego in between all of this, you may not be given a chance to come back and tackle it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have another opportunity there, and I'm sure you're going to do that.
Inshallah.
So talking about the backpack, like how heavy is it, and what do you sort of stock in the backpack? Are there some essentials that
Snacks.
Snacks.
You will
So
take
how
your
heavy is
snacks,
it?
Depends.
The backpack, how heavy is
depends
it?
on
It
the
depends,
level of
exactly. It depends which
Okay.
camp you're going. It
Okay.
depends
Mhm.
on. So first rotation, my backpack was very heavy. It
Yeah.
would go up to 17 kilos sometimes, and like the higher you go, you
Wow.
feel like you're holding the world on your back. It gets too
17
heavy.
kilos on your back and at
And
an
altitude.
altitude where you can barely breathe.
Yeah, but
Okay.
then it starts getting less and less and less
Yeah.
the longer you are there, because half of your stuff are being left up because you
Yeah.
do rotations on Everest. So
Yeah.
I left like a lot of stuff on Camp 2. So next time I had to go up, I only had to carry my snacks, some water, and sometimes I would get extremely tired. My Sherpa would carry my 2 liters of water and
Oh.
some snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh.
wouldn't. It was too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what is harder? They say descending is harder.
Descending.
Yeah. Why? Why is it? I mean, you would think that descending
Because
coming down is easier.
you've used all of your energy, and you've
So
been
it's
on
the
the
mind.
mountain. We've been on the mountain for a longer duration,
Okay.
and that day you have to come down to Camp 2. And you've been walking for several hours. So descending is much harder.
Is harder. So one is the mindset, because it's sort of told you that you've done what you needed to do and now you want to get back to where you need to go back really fast, I guess.
So it's not, it's hard.
Yeah.
But it's not the hardest. I think it's the scariest.
Is it?
It's more scary going down.
Which makes it harder.
Which makes it like so you need to play a lot of mind games. When you're going up, you're zoned out.
Yeah.
It's very tough, of course. You're going and the oxygen is becoming less and you're tired and it's an ascent and your breath is very short. But coming down, you have the breath, but you don't know when you can slip.
Yeah.
There's one rope, people are going up and down and people are like more dangerous than the mountain this year. It was terrible with the people. You don't know who would like hang in you and like take you down with them.
Right.
So going down, I think, and there's, bear in mind, ice, snow and rocks.
Yes.
So like, and you're wearing crampons. So you don't know how you would slip. It's easier to slip when you're coming down.
So
and as you said, like, we're tired.
Exactly. So there is a rope that you hold on to, right? While
You're clipped
descending?
into a rope from base camp to the summit all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Ascend and descend.
So we wear our harnesses and there's a system in it.
Okay.
And the carabiner is always locked into the rope all the
Okay.
time.
All right. So how did people slip? How did people? Of course, May 22nd was like a zoo on the Everest, I think, with the traffic jam and with everybody out there, and then the unfortunate deaths as well that took place. So how does that happen? Like, if you're clipped onto the rope, how do you slip? How do you?
You don't slip if you're on the rope.
Okay.
You don't
So there are
slip.
some people who are not clipped, is it?
No, everybody's clipped, but sometimes you unclip because there are knots between the ropes, and then you reclip to the rope.
Right. Okay.
But I don't think people slipped like that. But I heard of one accident who slipped on the
Okay.
balcony.
He missed the clipping. He didn't clip right. He didn't clip properly.
So that time between clipping and unclipping is when the accidents can
It's
happen.
not accident.
That
There
was
was one
accident
accident.
that
There was one
happened, yeah.
accident.
The guy was too tired and he didn't clip properly and he slept.
Oh, and
Yeah.
he slept, yes. So tell us about that day, because you peaked the mountain.
So I woke up. So we arrived to Camp 4 at 1. Did I tell you?
No.
We arrived to Camp 4 at 1. And then I had some snacks, and you're on oxygen all the time inside the tent, and you're just waiting. Then they said we're going tonight. Tonight means in a couple of hours. So I took a power nap, and then I woke up at 7 and then put everything on. So you have a lot of layers. I had like 3 pants, 4 tops, and then you have a down suit, and then you have your harness, then you have your boots, and then I had an overboot because I got really cold, and then your crampons.
Really?
Yes. Over the double boots, I have an overboot
God.
there. And then
Must have been very heavy.
Oh yeah, I was a walking monster on Summit Day.
I thought I'm a big one with my boots, double boots.
I had over boots above them with the crampons, and then I had my backpack. And in your backpack, you have your oxygen bottle and water and everything. And then and then like you get out of the tent and you're just really big, and it's windy outside, and all I could see in front of me was like 100 headlights. Headlamps. I was just like, I don't know how long this is gonna take, but it looks like a very long night.
Okay.
So it was 8, we started, and then I made it to the summit at 9 in the morning because of the traffic. I was stuck behind, so suddenly I was
13 hours.
Yeah. So you're going from 8,000 to 8,848 meters. That night, it was so crowded. People were really exhausted. Alhamdulillah, nothing was wrong with me. I didn't have any headache. I didn't have any altitude sickness. My body was not aching anymore. It's as if I just started climbing. And like after 2 months, I was completely fine. So I think I was really lucky back then. So suddenly I find myself on the first stop, the balcony where we changed the oxygen bottles. But then you see people lying down there. People can't continue. And there's one rope on to the way to the top. Everybody is clipped to that rope. You cannot unclip. So if someone's tired, you just have to stand behind them and wait. At one point, there's a part where you have to climb, but it's ice and rocks. And it takes time because like climbing on that altitude is not easy. You run out of breath really easily. I waited an hour for a guy to move. So he would step and rest for a while. And then you can't say anything because everybody's tired, everybody is worried, and everybody is going to the same goal. You just have to wait. So my Sherpa was like strong enough, we would unclip, which I think was unsafe. And then he would pull me with him and like try to overtake people so we can cross. But with overtaking, it was still not easy. And from the south summit to the summit, there's something called the Hillary stuff. It would take you 2 hours in terms of distance and altitude and all that. It took me 4 hours. So like I changed my oxygen bottle after the south summit, and then there's this rope, and I think everybody, the famous picture of the line. I was in that queue.
Okay.
And it feels really bad. I didn't know. The summit is so close, I can see it, but I'm confused if I would make it or not, because at one point you need to turn back because the weather gets really bad up there. We're standing at around 8,700 meters, not moving. It's very windy. You can only put 1 foot on the trail. So like you put 2 foot behind each other. People are coming down from the summit, and then you have to lean to the side of the mountain, and then they need to jump over you. And we're all on 1 rope. And sometimes they would clip into your harness because you're clipped to the rope because there's no space on the rope to clip. So yeah, it was the people, the crowd. It was really bad, and it ruins the summit experience in my opinion. So like before getting to the summit, all I was saying, thank God, I just want to get done with this now. Like I forgot that I was on Everest. Probably I forgot I'm gonna see the world. It was so bad, and like people coming down, and everybody's swearing at everyone at one point. Khalas, you get really annoyed. It was horrible.
Okay, all right. I mean, that's pretty thing, right? I mean, would you want like more regulations in terms of how many people can climb in a day?
Yeah, of
because
course.
Just to make, because you obviously have the passionate adventurers right over there on top. It's not everybody who can do it. So you want that whole experience to be great, and something like this isn't really very,
I
it doesn't
think
make you
this year
happy.
was the highest number of permits that were issued this year.
Okay, yes, yes, apparently.
Probably, I think the Minister of Tourism needs to look at this.
To look at this, absolutely.
And to do a cut down of, in terms of what you call it, permits that are issued. Because it's not only the funding that gets into people health and safety is more important than anything else, in my own opinion.
100%. They need to regulate it. The number of people needs to be like put a limit. There was more than 350 permits that was issued, I think, or 350, something like that.
Okay. So, like on our last few questions, in terms of again what you saw while going up and coming back, like it was lovely what you talked about. People, sticking clipping your harness and things. So, in terms of people, also, I think you encountered a person actually dying right in front of you.
Not dying. Everybody's been writing that he died. He collapsed. So it's different.
Really?
So like,
so he managed to come back up.
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. There was a guy. We were jumping our way up, and you see him going on his knees. Yeah. And then he just like lies down, and I wouldn't look or think. I would ask if he's okay, but I know I can't help. And you just cross it and move.
The reason why I asked this question is because when you are there already struggling, does that bring you down? Does that bring the moral
down? This is the question of
scare?
ethics. This is a question of ethics. You're going up. You can see that you're very close to your goal. Somebody like happens to collapse or anything.
What do you do?
I'm just happy I don't know those people.
That's weird.
Because I don't know. If it's a friend, it's gonna be really difficult. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Everybody has a way of dealing with this. If I can help, I would definitely help. But if I can't help, then I'm not gonna help, because at this altitude, sometimes if you're helping,
But
you
I'm
can
sure
die.
the Sherpas jumped into it.
His
no one
Sherpa
looked.
was just on the radio, and his Sherpa wasn't like, I don't know. It wasn't one of the people we were explaining about.
No, but we
Yeah.
did follow that story, and we know that they were, picked up by the
They
experts.
did, yeah.
And all
Of
that.
course,
So
but
that
like
happens.
not on the spot.
Yes.
People, their families need to pay a lot to get them down.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's a whole different infrastructure and logistics that they
Yes.
need to,
Yeah.
deal with. Okay. But in terms of, like, just the morale, like, does it scare you when you see that? Or you just like, I want to,
Of course. Like,
Yeah.
the first thing I would think about is, I do not want my mom and dad to see me like
This way.
This
Yeah.
is
You don't want to end up like this.
no.
Mhm.
Because this is because I came because it's a passion. I definitely die for this passion. I don't mind. But I made a promise when I started that I will not hurt myself. And I turned once on a mountain on Aconcagua, my second mountain, at 6,400 meters. I was 400 meters away from the summit. I turned back because everything in the universe like was not working for me.
Right.
It was meant to turn back. And I was there for like, I think 20 days climbing the mountain.
Right.
So yeah, it hits me. And I try not to think about it. Like it's all about your mind on the mountain. And if you get emotional, it can destroy you. I don't know about you.
That's true. But I saw a dead body.
Right?
I
I saw
come
too.
for, remember?
On the way.
On the way, yeah.
Okay.
That Bulgarian guy.
He was clipped to the
He
rope,
was
and we
clipped.
had to clip next to him.
Oh my God.
I
did
know.
not.
And
No,
I
we
cl-
clipped to the next
No, I
side.
clipped on the knot next to him.
Oh, la,
and
then
I
we
thought
clipped
it
on-
was gear, and I convinced myself it was gear and took off.
It's scary because the
God.
guy was dead
Yeah.
and he was
Yeah.
tied up with the rope and he was clipped on the rope that people
Yes.
would clip onto. And that moment was very scary, that you think of your life that you don't
Yeah.
want to end up like this.
Yeah.
And you have to be, because this guy summited and he came down without oxygen
Oh.
and he died after that.
All right. Okay. That's sad.
I was
But
like-
why would he do that?
He ran
I
out
wonder,
probably.
maybe
or
he
he's
ran
trying
out of
to
it.
do
No,
a
he
record. He went up without oxygen?
Yeah. Not to Everest. He
Ah.
went up to
Lhotse.
Lhotse.
Okay.
Okay.
So he summited and he came
Yeah.
down.
Oh,
And because of lack of oxygen, his
Oxygen.
body couldn't take it and he passed
he
away.
just collapsed.
A lot of
yeah.
people tried to help him, but
Yeah.
he started hallucinating
Oh.
and he was going from one place to another. And then he
Right.
collapsed.
Mm.
And he was in the camp next to us.
Yeah. It's really hard to see the people that you've met or you've seen or
Yes.
you know
In
in
somehow.
that state, in that
And he was
situation.
clipped. He was tied up with a rope and he was clipped
no.
because the family at that point were not able to get
Yeah.
the funding to
Oh.
get him down. And
Oh.
all the Sherpas were busy with the summiters,
Yeah,
with the summiteers.
right.
So
Yeah.
He was there for a while. So.
yes, he was there for a
Oh.
few days.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
the whole community within base camp started raising
Collecting.
funds
I
and
think
collecting.
Mustafa was part of this. Yes,
he
yes,
started
yes.
that revolution.
Okay.
And then he got Turkish Airway to fly him over as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Oh.
we
Oh my God.
you feel sorry for that
You
person that the
feel
family cannot afford
absolutely.
to
And
bring
he
him
was
down.
of Turkish descent.
No, he's
He was-
Bulgarian.
Okay.
He was
all right.
Bulgarian.
Okay.
But then
Oh my gosh,
The-
that's a whole different challenge.
I know.
Yeah, that's
You
terrible.
wouldn't want to be in
Yes.
his shoes.
Of
and
course.
You would. When I saw the body, I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah,
God
that's-
bless your
yeah.
soul.
Exactly.
But I hope this does not happen
Happened
to me.
Yeah.
Okay, let's. I have my oxygen. I have my promise that I'm going to
Focus.
get back.
Yeah.
Let's do our best to stay healthy and safe as well.
Right. Now that you're back, I was coming to that question. Has life changed? I mean, is there anything different, like after having, tackled this big peak? I mean, has some,
Well,
or is still sinking in?
I don't think it has synced in yet.
Yeah. I think it's only been 10 days since we were back.
Mm.
I don't feel the change. We're less than 10 days
Yeah.
probably. It's still settling, and it's everybody's celebrating, which
Yeah.
is so sweet from everyone.
Yes.
But as a person, what changed in me,
Yeah.
on a personal level, nothing yet.
Nothing yet,
I'm
okay.
still discovering.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I
And
think it takes a while.
what's
Mm.
next for you ladies? Like, what do you want to do? You've done 6 summits, so there's one left
So yeah,
to do.
if I manage to get the sponsorship for my next
You will,
mountain,
you will, you will.
inshallah,
You
yeah.
Believe in it, you will.
Okay.
Yes, that
So
is the
I
crux
would-
of everything.
I would
Yeah.
be done with my 7 Summits project by hopefully December. If I manage to fly out and do another mountain in between, that would be amazing. And my problem has been looking really nice.
So Fatima, the 6 summits that you have done has all been on your personal funding. You've
Yes.
never had a
I've
sponsorship.
never been sponsored.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay. So then it would be a nice gift.
Not a gift, like I'm broke, that's it. I don't need sponsorship. I spent all my money on mountains. So it's not like I need it right now, but no, yeah. So yeah, I would do Vincent and then probably start the, if I'm able to, Grand Slam Challenge, the North Pole, the South
Yeah.
Pole.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a lot of mountains above, 14 mountains above 8,000 meters. I promised myself if I summit, I want to try as much mountains as possible.
Okay.
Above 8,000 and probably travel a lot on other mountains. It's
Right.
beautiful. Nature is really nice.
Yes, that's
Mountains
right.
humble you. Mountains grind you. They give you, as a woman, I feel like Everest is a female as well. Did you feel that?
No.
Like, I feel it's a she, it's a female.
Okay.
And it gives me a lot of energy that I can come back and give it back. And like just put out in the society positive vibes, because I think we can become a better generation, a better society, which we are in progress in right now.
Yeah.
The more talents we have and the more talents we work on
Yeah.
and we feed those talents, the Arab world will flourish, the Middle East would be amazing. Yeah.
And what about you, Khadijah? Are you going to go back and
Going
peek
back
it next time?
next year.
I can't wait to watch your story next year.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
good. Now that I know what I know,
Yeah.
it's going to be a different expedition, definitely.
And in
definitely.
terms of preparations, would you work on something?
Yes.
Like, have you sort of understood where you could have done more, or?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think, personal opinion,
Yeah.
I think no one should go to Everest without at least taking a course in rock climbing.
Okay.
Because
Right.
we were told that we'll go there and we'll do the training and
Yeah.
everything, and I've never done rock climbing before, so I never had the boots and these sort of things on. So I think no one should go to Everest without doing
Okay.
rock climbing course
Okay.
at least, because it helps a lot when you know it previously
Yeah.
than going and facing it over there
Right.
at Everest.
And
And
where do you hope to get that training? Like, would you sort of maybe go off on a holiday and do some rock climbing?
well, there are few places
Spots.
over here in Dubai that offer
Yes.
the course.
Okay,
And
nice.
so I'll start from there,
Okay.
and then I'll get it. I think that would be the starting point. I highly recommend that whoever wants to do Everest or any other mountain,
Yeah.
at least get hold of your skills with the
Yeah.
rock climbing, because
Yes.
it helps you. It helps with your confidence when you put your foot on the ground, and when you knock your foot on the ice.
Right.
It helps a lot with your confidence in yourself
Yes.
and in your foot and where you're placing your foot.
Right.
I got to a point where on the ice fall I was like, trust your foot, Hadi. Trust your foot, Hadi.
Means,
Trust your foot.
crampons. But ice fall, it's all about the crampons.
Yeah,
If
trust where you
know
put
where
your
you
foot.
your crampons, you're done.
So I got to a point where I was just telling myself this all the time. Trust where you put your foot. Trust where you put your foot, because that's when you build your
Yes.
confidence in
Yes.
yourself. And I was like, one step at a time, one step at a time. Don't rush.
Right.
But yeah, I would do things a bit
Okay.
differently,
Okay.
and I will challenge my blood condition again
Okay.
for next year
Mhm.
and see. Definitely will.
Congratulations, by the way. I never knew about your blood.
Thank you.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
like
yeah.
this is something else.
Thank you.
Mm.
At 8,000, it knocked
You
me down.
made it at 8,000.
It's
Yeah.
like, ah,
Wow,
I was
that's
gonna make it.
amazing.
But يلا ما عليه. Next
Mm.
year.
So basically, because it tires you down, right? People with thalassemia, they get tired easily.
Easily, you get
Yeah.
you get fatigue
Yeah,
easier
you
than
get
a
fatigue
normal
easier, yeah.
person, and
So-
your recovery time would be longer
Is
than a
longer.
normal individual.
Yeah. So how can you work on that, like in terms medically, like
It's not going to be. I think personally,
Yeah.
it's going to be doing
Yeah.
other mountains as well.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going more frequent to the mountains with high
Yes.
altitude,
Yes.
because that's when it will start challenging it. But I still want to do Kilimanjaro. I remember we had that conversation before.
Yes.
Kilimanjaro to me is a female, by the way.
Okay.
I felt that Kilimanjaro is a mom.
That's so nice.
Yeah, as a mom, and she's so welcoming, and I keep saying she. Kilimanjaro to me is a mom, and it's the highest freestanding mountain
Yes.
in the world.
Mhm.
So you feel that the mountain is lonely, but as a mom and as a female, she's so welcoming of everyone that goes to that mountain,
Right.
and it gives a different vibe than
Mhm.
the Himalayas mountain and Everest, because while you're going to the base camp, and then there are other campers as well.
Yes.
There are communities that lives on Everest
Yes.
before you get to, until
Yes.
you get to base camp,
Yes.
at least. Yeah.
Mhm.
There are communities and there are people
Yeah.
and there who live on that mountain. But Kilimanjaro is a lonely mountain.
Yes. That's
And
true.
it has
I
6
agree.
different routes that gets you to the to
Yeah.
Ahora summit. So my plan is to do the 6 different routes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I want to
Very
help clean that mountain. And
Nice.
it's a commitment of mine
Yeah.
towards Kilimanjaro, and I'm going in October,
Mhm.
trying a different route. This is going to be my 3rd route. But I made a promise to this mountain that every time I'm on this mountain, I'm cleaning it.
Mm.
And this helps with the, I was going to say Sherpas, with the guides
true.
and the porters that are with us.
Yeah.
When they see a climber doing it, I've encouraged a lot of the people that were on my expedition, and they made me a promise that every time they go to the
Nice.
mountain, they're
They
going to
will-
clean it.
Yeah.
So to me, that is the biggest achievement of mine. But I still want to enjoy
Yeah.
Kilimanjaro from different aspects and from different views. So Kilimanjaro in October.
And on a final note, the UAE as an adventure country. I mean, like it's been really quite interesting for us to hear about the good news of the 3 of you successfully going there and coming back. So tell us about how much the UAE has contributed to that. Have you been inspired in some way? Like you mentioned, Fatima, that it was because you lived here in the UAE that you could do holidays, and that inspired you to get into mountaineering. So do you ladies
I
want
think
to
the
share
UAE
about that?
offers a lot of outdoors recently, and it's getting more and more.
Yeah.
I've seen the new stuff in Hatta. It's beautiful. It's the
Yeah.
closest one to Dubai for whoever is living in Dubai.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I do a lot of trips to Ras Al Khaimah. So before going, for the past 4 years actually, ever since I started climbing,
Yeah.
I go either every other weekend or every weekend. I took around 12 girls who are currently training for Kilimanjaro now, the Sajaya team. Amazing girls. We train in Ras Al Khaimah. It does offer the outdoors. It's really hard to explain this to people who doesn't live in the UAE, for example, because they see the UAE as a desert.
Modern city.
Yes.
Either like modern city or the outdoors are desert all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not. There's a lot of outdoors. There's a
Yes.
lot of rock climbing.
Right.
A lot of rock climbing.
Mm.
Amazing spots. There's many trails where everybody can go, and they would see, because training for a mountain, as I said, you need to be on the mountain to try what does it feel like to walk on a different terrain than walking on a normal street or a straight, because you're walking on rocks, and there's a lot of trail that reminds me when I travel. For example, Aconcagua, exactly when you start, it's exactly like the mountain I train on, Jez or Wadi Ghalila, because it's rocky area,
Right.
and the way, and it's slippery,
Right.
it's not easy.
Okay.
So there's many areas. There's Wadi Shauka. So yeah, no, the UAE does offer outdoors, but it's not easy to explain it because it's either modern city or desert.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very interesting that you and you have a similar thing to say, Khadijah, about it, like how the UAE inspired you. And
Well,
as an Emirati, do you feel that there should be more adventure?
I think the focus on adventure in
Yeah.
UAE is growing.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Western groups who have adopted the the sports, and they're doing a lot of adventure work here in UAE. And as a government as well, I see that the focus has shifted in Dubai and in Ras Al Khaimah. And there are a lot of beautiful trails in Fujairah as well, where you connect to Oman.
Yes.
So there are a lot of opportunities for for adventure seekers to come and explore here in the city.
Absolutely. Thank you, ladies, for coming and talking about your experience. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.